right. Hello, let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm running through mostly acoustic setup tonight. I got my old Martin that I'm going to be playing tonight. Decided to bring out some of the old guitars for this evening's live stream. We'll be showcasing through that. I do have the Rain song behind me, and I have my 12 string over here. So I'll be playing songs with each of those three. So, hope you enjoy the show tonight. The show is called Wherever This Flag's Flown. I'll be addressing some things, hopefully not too heavily, but I'll start off tonight with this old Phil Ochs tune for you. So hope you enjoy. Come on and take a walk with me through this green and growing land. Walk through the meadows and the mountains and the sand. Walk through the valleys and the rivers and the plains. Walk through the sun and walk through the rain. Here is a land full of power and glory, beauty that words cannot recall. Oh, her power shall rest on the strength of her freedom, and her glory shall rest on us all. From Colorado, Kansas, and the Carolinas to Virginia and Alaska, from the old into the new, Texas and Ohio and the California shore. Tell me who could ask for more? Here is a land full of power and glory, beauty that words cannot recall. Oh, her power shall rest on the strength of her freedom, and her glory shall rest on us all. Yet she's only as rich as the poorest of the poor, only as free as the padlocked prison doors, only as strong as our love for this land, only as tall as we stand. Here is a land full of power and glory, beauty that words cannot recall. Oh, her power shall rest on the strength of her freedom, and her glory shall rest on us all. On us all. Alright, so tonight's show is themed to Flag Day, and when I was conceptualizing this, I was thinking about like what can I do about that? Usually I like to center these special live streams around certain holidays or certain events that are happening in the world. So again, in the Flag Day theme, tonight's show is called Wherever This Flag Is Flown. And I decided to... Actually, give me a second here. I forgot to bring my little mug over here. So I have and I got to thinking, the flag is rooted in a lot of symbolism. It represents a lot of different things for a lot of different people. A lot of it is good, some of it is not so good. And I got to thinking, what do people think of when they think of the flag? Obviously, the most popular images are, of course, freedom. They think of the imagery of the stars and stripes. And one that I find brought up a lot is those who died defending our freedom. And I was interested in that because I've made very clear in the past my opinion on war. I don't like it. I believe that most of the wars our country ever fought, and there have been a lot of them, were never for anything truly meaningful. Not all of them, but most of them. And And I don't like the picture that is painted of the motivations of war spreading freedom throughout the world. I don't buy that. To me, that just sounds like a bunch of desperate PR work. The image that is portrayed, this combination of noble sacrifice and some kind of very twisted masculine badassery that comes out in some of these people, it turns me right off. It turns me right off. And what also turns me off is this, kind of perceived holiness of war that we see, especially here in America. And it kind of pisses me off because, and I've said it before, the God that I know has no use for war, especially today. So it drives me nuts that they try to pull God into that. Because, we've done a lot of not so great things in the name of God as a country. This is a song about that. This is by Bob Dylan. Oh, my name, it ain't nothing. My age, it means less. The country I come from is called the Midwest. I was taught and brought up there, the laws to abide, and that the land that I live in has God on its side. Oh, the history books tell it, they tell it so well. The Cavalry's charge, the Indians fell. The Cavalry's charge, and the Indians died. Oh, the country was young, with God on its side. The Spanish-American War had its day, and the Civil War too was soon laid away, and the names of the heroes I was made to memorize, with guns in their hands and God on their side. Oh, the First World War, boys, it closed out its fate. The reason for fighting I never got straight, but I learned to accept it with pride. For you don't count the dead when God's on your side. When the Second World War came to an end, we forgave the Germans and we were friends, though they murdered 12 million in the ovens they fried. seems now to have God on their side. And I've learned to hate the Russians all through my whole life. If another war starts, it's them we must fight. To hate them and fear them, to run and to hide, and accept it all bravely with God on my side. But now we got weapons of the chemical dust. If fire them we're forced to, then fire them we must. One push of the button and a shot the world wide. And you never ask questions when God's on your side. Through many dark hours, I've been thinking about this, that Jesus Christ was betrayed by a kiss. But I can't think for you, you'll have to decide whether Judas Iscariot had God on his side. So now as I'm leaving, I'm weary as hell. The confusion I'm feeling, ain't no tongue can tell. The words fill my head and they fall to the floor. If God's on our side, He'll stop the next war. So that was Bob Dylan's "With God on Our Side." That was off of his Times They Are Changin' album. And I could go deeper into that topic, but I'm choosing not to, because there's some others that are brought up that can be considered negatives when cynical people think of America and think of the flag. Another one of those is "Poverty." And this is a song by Bruce Springsteen that's about a person who finds himself on hard times. He has a job, but he can't pay his debts. So he turns to crime. And that's an often overlooked trope of people who are desperate, people who are poor and desperate, and just, find themselves in such a desperate position that they're willing to do anything to survive. And this song was written in the early 80s, back before the plague of income inequality was really at its firmest grip. So imagine what it's like now. the Chicken Man in Philly last night. Now they blew up his house too. Down on the boardwalk, they're getting ready for a hell of a fight. Gonna see what them racket boys can do. Now there's trouble busting in from out of state, and the DA can't get no relief. Gonna be a rumble out on the promenade, and the gambling commission's hanging on by the skin of its teeth. Everything dies, baby, that's a fact. Maybe everything that dies someday comes back. Put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty. Meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Well, I got a job, I'm trying to put my money away, but I got debts that no honest man can pay. So I drew what I had from the Central Trust, and I bought us 2 tickets on that Coast City bus. Everything dies, baby, that's a fact. Maybe everything that dies someday comes back. Put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty. Meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Now our luck may have died and our love may be cold, but with you forever I'll stay. We're going out where the sands turn into gold. So now put on your stockings, baby, 'cause the night's getting cold, and maybe everything dies, baby, that's a fact. Maybe everything that dies someday comes back. Now I've been looking for a job, but it's hard to find. Down here it's just winners and losers, and don't get caught on the wrong side of that line. Well, I'm tired of coming out on the losing end. So honey, last night I met this guy, and I'm gonna do a little favor for him. Well, I guess everything dies, baby, that's a fact. Maybe everything that dies someday comes back. Put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty. Meet me tonight in Atlantic City. 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 So that was Bruce Springsteen's Atlantic City. And, I'm not going to talk at length about the issues that I bring up in this show and in the songs themselves, because a lot of them I've already discussed before, including this next one, which is bigotry and racism. And to a lesser extent, xenophobia. And that's what this song is about. This is a song about This is a song about the murder of Medgar Evers back in the 1960s. And how years of manipulation by politicians to poor white people, convincing them that they have a place of privilege above black people and above any other race. And I still think this song is relevant today. This is called Only a Pawn in Their Game. A bullet from the back of a bush took Medgar Evers' blood. A finger fired the trigger to his name. A handle hit out in the dark. He hand set the spark. Two eyes took the aim. Behind a man's brain. But he can't be blamed. He's only a pawn in their game. A South politician preaches to the poor white man. You've got more than the blacks, don't complain. You're better than them. You were born with white skin, they explain. And the Negro's name is used in its plain for the politician's gain as he rises to fame. And the poor white remains on the caboose of the train. But it ain't him to blame. He's only a pawn in their game. The deputy sheriffs, the soldiers, the governors get paid. And the marshals and cops get the same. But the poor white man used in the hands of them all like a tool. He's taught in the school from the start by the rule that the laws are with him to protect his white skin, to keep up his hate so that he never thinks straight about the shape that he's in. But it ain't him to blame. He's only a pawn in their game. From the poverty shacks, he looks from the cracks to the tracks, and the hoofbeats pound in his brain. And he's taught how to walk in a pack and shoot in the back, with his fists in a clinch, to hang and to lynch, to hide neath the hood, to kill with no pain, like a dog on a chain. He ain't got no name, but it ain't him to blame. He's only a pawn in their game. Today Medgar Evers was buried from the bullet he caught. They lowered him down as a king. Shadowy sun sets on the one that fired the gun. He'll see by his grave on the stone that remains, carved next to his name, his epitaph plain. Only a pawn in their game. I mentioned in that song how manipulation of poor people leads to bigotry, and that kind of leads into the subject of the next song. This is a Bruce Springsteen song called Youngstown, and it's about profit motive and exploitation of workers. And it specifically, addresses a real place, that is the city of Youngstown, Ohio, which used to be a very, working class, factory heavy town where certain products were manufactured. But by the time this song was written, the factories were gone and the people were left in poverty. Here in Northeast Ohio, back in 1803, James and Danny Heaton found the ore that was lining Yellow Creek. They built a blast furnace here along the shore, and they made the cannonballs that helped the Union win the war. Here in Youngstown, here in Youngstown, my sweet Jenny, I'm sinking down here, darling, in Youngstown. Well, my daddy worked the furnaces, kept them hotter than hell. I come home from Nam, worked my way to Scarfer, job that suited the devil as well. Taconite, coke, and limestone fed my children and made my pay. Them smokestacks are reaching like the arms of God into a beautiful sky of soot and clay. Here in Youngstown, here in Youngstown, my sweet Jenny, I'm sinking down here, darling, in Youngstown. Well, my daddy come on the Ohio Works when he came home from World War II. Now the yards just scrap and rubble. He said them big boys did what Hitler couldn't do. These mills, they built the tanks and bombs that won this country's wars. We sent our sons to Korea and Vietnam. Now we're wondering what they were dying for. Here in Youngstown, here in Youngstown, my sweet Jenny, I'm sinking down here, darling, in Youngstown. From the Monongahela Valley to the Mesabi Iron Range, to the coal mines of Appalachia, the story's always the same. 700 tons of metal a day. Now, sir, you tell me the world's changed once I made you rich enough to forget my name. And Youngstown, and Youngstown, my sweet Jenny, I'm sinking down here, darling, in Youngstown. When I die, I don't want no part of heaven. I would not do heaven's work well. I pray the devil comes and takes me to stand in the fiery furnaces of hell. All right, thanks again. That was Bruce Springsteen's Youngstown. I believe that Bruce Springsteen has this incredible gift of showcasing pain, and struggle within, the working class and poor communities in America. And that's not going to be the last Springsteen song you hear tonight. But for now, I'll play an original tune. This is Build This City. And this song is about income inequality and the divide between the rich and the poor, which kind of connects to what we talked about in the last song. The inspiration for this song was several trips that I had made to New York City before the pandemic. And I noticed a trend that was happening there. It was a combination of building up both the upper class and the absolute lowest class in the city. You know, they were building all these massive skyscrapers, these beautiful looking residential buildings that were taking over the skyline, and they were meant for these rich tenants to rent out apartments in them. Meanwhile, at the same time, I noticed the amount of homeless people was skyrocketing. Not just increasing, but skyrocketing. There was one on every street corner. There was at least 3 in every public park that I went to. And there were at least a dozen on every subway train. And it kind of hurt to see... It hurt to see that divide get wider and wider. And it's happening all over the country. So I wrote this song as kind of a call to action for... in the hopes that could someday change. Patterson on the bread box line. He lost his home on his own dime. She rules the bright light serenade with a child at her promenade. A theater man in the tightest jeans, a husband sick in bed asleep. From the ashes of pain and pity, come together, let's build this city. Innocence with charcoal skin, his brother shot by a blue man's tin. Mother trapped in a textile mill, risks her hand for her mouth to fill. Concrete towers proud and tall, how many iron workers fall? So from the ashes of pain and pity, come together, let's build this city. Wake up to see just what they did. They ripped apart the prophet's tongue, and the murderer is free to run. The gambler hits the sloping stride, climbing up to the money's high. Working man is a beggar's kiss. God knows we are better than of pain and pity, come together, let's build this city. 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 So that was Build This City on the subject of income inequality that we have that we've been dealing with. Moving on. And this is another topic that I have dealt with in the past. I've done an entire show about it during the pandemic, probably about a year or so ago, in the wake of the George Floyd protests, and that's the issue of police brutality. Here's a song I wrote back in 2017 about the murder of Freddie Gray. in Baltimore. But I've already discussed that issue at length, so I won't bore you with that. The TV shows you an illusion. There's a darker side of town. Tremble at the thought of being next in line as the higher powers pound. Lucky ones sweat out the city jail. The others blaze a rosewood, brown and blood red trail. Baltimore, can you hear children crying? Baltimore, singing, let the revolution pass through Baltimore. The jail van skids through these poor man's streets. We just let them have their fun. His hands are tied, his body's loose against this floor and walls. That'll teach him not to run. Head to Great Bar and he's gone. Blue skies turn to gray as his soul passes on. Baltimore, can you hear children crying? Baltimore, leave their sidewalks wounded and stained. It's up to us to summon down the cleansing rain. The names are stapled to our chests. We won't stop till they can rest. Baltimore, can you hear children crying? Baltimore, singing. Baltimore, can you hear your country crying? Baltimore, can you hear the people singing? Let the revolution pass through Baltimore. Revolution pass through Baltimore. All right, so that was Baltimore, and I do have one more of these more serious issues that I wanted to bring up, and I don't think this one gets nearly as much attention as I think it should, and that is the death penalty. I'd say it's about 8 months ago or so now, I'd read an article about how particularly cruel those who were on federal death row were being treated after our previous president reinstated federal executions again. And he executed a lot of people. And the way that those people were treated and the way their families were treated and the way the protesters were treated were extremely cruel, as in like not allowing them basics, putting protesters in cages to protest from, not letting their families even speak to the prisoners before they died. And it broke my heart to read that. And, my natural inclination after after hearing a story like that was, of course, to, typical artist response was to write a song about it. And I decided, I looked it up and I thought to myself, who is the next person in line to die? And it was a man named Orlando Hall. So I borrowed his name in this tune, and I made it a point to finish the song by the day that he was scheduled to die, which was November 19th of last year. And I completed it, and I performed it that day. And it still hurts for me to, hear stories about people who are dying because of things they've done in their past. And I discovered that these people, for the most part, are incredibly apologetic for everything they've done, and they've been trying, and they've been given opportunities to make amends. So this is Orlando. My name is Orlando, I'm living on death row. This place is a steady flow of rain. If you can see me through, I'm writing this for you, so that I will not just die in vain. So I am a killer, and once was a dealer, and there sits a lot of us in here. They threw us away when our guilt was proven, and now we await our fates with fear. Can anybody hear me? Is anybody listening? Will I be gone once this goes out? Will God ever forgive me? They'll kill me for the things I've done, despite my sorrow, prayers and shouts. A sliver of sunlight will shine like a spotlight when we stand together in our place. We're praising our children and wrote our ambitions as we paint the smiles upon our face. And God is a presence I feel in my senses whenever the silence rears its head. I ask for forgiveness from all I have wronged, as I fear that He'll simply strike me dead. Can anybody hear me? Is anybody listening? Will I be gone once this goes out? Will God ever forgive me? Kill me for the things I've done, despite my sorrow, prayers and shouts. For 20 years they did suspect, but now they're primed to kill again. They stand and scoff at my despair. I will cry, mercy please, I'll beg until I'm on my knees, but they won't listen, they won't care. Can anybody hear me? Is anybody listening? Will I be gone once this goes out? Will God ever forgive My name is Orlando, I'm living on death row. This place is a steady flow of rain. If you can see me through, I'm writing this for you, so that I will not just die in vain. All right, so that was Orlando. And we're about to the point where we can start closing out, and I do want to talk about one thing that I have not really discussed all that much in my shows like this in the past. So I've talked a lot about some of the negative connotations that are associated with this country and what can kind of taint what the flag means to not just us, but people around the world. But I do want to ask one question, kind of rhetorically, but not so much what does the flag stand for, but what should the flag stand for. And the first thing that came to my mind was unity. You know, we are the United States of America after all. But right now, it is extremely hard to be united. In a period of time where the very concept of facts is a cause to sever ties with the friends and family you used to love, when the pursuit of knowledge about current events is a slippery slope that can lead to violent extremism, where we question the motives of the authority figures we have already been told to trust, where the news and our politicians tell us that every person in this country has to take on one of two sides in order to be a proper American, as opposed to letting us think for ourselves. We're more divided than we've ever been in my lifetime, certainly in my lifetime, and that hurts more than I can explain. I know it's a big cliche to say that we're supposed to be the United States of America, but the reason it's cliche is because it's true. When all the political shit trying to rip us even farther apart, there needs to be something that can bring us together. So you speak to me of sadness and the coming of the winter. Fear that is within you now that seems to never end. And the dreams that have escaped you and the hope that you've forgotten. Tell me that you need me now. You want to be my friend, and you wonder where we're going. Where's the rhyme? Where's the reason? And it's you cannot accept. It is here we must begin to seek the wisdom of the children and the graceful way of flowers in the wind. For the children and the flowers are my sisters and my brothers. Their laughter and their loveliness could clear a cloudy day, like the music of the mountains and the colors of the rainbow. They're a promise of the future and a blessing for today. Though the cities start to crumble and the towers fall around us. The sun is slowly fading, and it's colder than the sea. It is written from the desert to the mountains, they shall lead us by the hand and by the heart. They will comfort you and me in their innocence and trusting. They will teach us to be free. For the children and the flowers are my sisters and my brothers. Their laughter and their loveliness will clear a cloudy day. And the song that I am singing is a prayer to non-believers. Come and stand beside us, we can find a better way. All right. That was Rhymes and Reasons by John Denver. So I mentioned unity as one symbol that I think the flag should stand for. The other is empathy. And it's based around the very basic concept, at least I think it's basic, that we need to care for one another. You know, the human species, going outside of America for a second, the human species has evolved through community, and we can only advance further if we continue to do so. I don't like this concept of radical self-reliance. It only works for very few people. You know, this idea of I don't need anybody but myself. I tried that once, and it led to a battle with depression that has taken over my entire adult life. Many of the greatest jobs in the world are in service of others, especially those of us who are less fortunate. You have therapists who help us to make sense of this beautiful mess that is our lives. We have doctors and nurses who help make sure that we're healthy and care for us when we're not. There are social workers who help the overlooked and downtrodden of us, through their own fault or not, make good of themselves in the society that they live in. And even artists provide the world with a service, and to help see the world in a different light and notice things that we wouldn't have noticed otherwise. I don't know how effective I am at that, but it's something I'm working on. So this is the song that I pulled the title of tonight's live stream from, Wherever This Flag's Flown. This is a Bruce Springsteen song called We Take Care of Our Own. I've been knocking on the door that holds the throne. I've been looking for the map that leads me home. I've been stumbling on good hearts, turn the stone. The road of good intentions gone dry as a bone. We take care of our own. We take care of our own. Wherever this flag's flown, we take care of our own. From Chicago to New Orleans, from the muscle to the bone. From the shotgun shack to the Superdome. There ain't no help, the cavalry stayed home. There ain't no one blowing the bugle blown. eyes with the will to see. Where are the hearts that run over with mercy? Where's the love that has not forsaken me? Where's the work that'll set my hands, my soul free? Where's the spirit that will reign over me? Where's a promise from sea to shining sea? Where's a promise from sea to shining sea? Wherever this flag is flown, wherever this flag is flown, wherever this flag is flown, we take care of our own. We take care of our own. Wherever this flag's flown, we take care of our own. We take care of our own. We take care of our own. Wherever this flag's flown, we take care of our own. All right, so that is our show for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll play one more song. I'll close out the way I usually do, with How You Say Goodbye. I appreciate you sticking around, despite the theme for tonight's show. It's always greatly appreciated when people are able to come out and tolerate whatever I want to say. At the least. And I'm glad you could join us this evening. I'll close out with How You Say Goodbye. Thank you so much. I haven't read the chat all stream because I kind of get scared of people's reactions whenever I go political on a stream. Curious to see what Kimmy says here. To them, war makes them money. It's not about fighting for freedom. Saying it's money. That's a definite truth to it. But and I've discussed that in the past. But that was not the topic I wanted to go with this. With this stream. But I agree with you 100%, Kimmy. Thanks so much for your input. Well, once again, thanks so much for coming out. I'll do one more song for you, and that is How You Say Goodbye. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's see, somebody asked for the PayPal address, and you can do so here. Leave a tip at paypal.me/Kyle Hencherek. You can give as much as you prefer. Or if you want to become a monthly contributor, you can go to my Patreon page and sign up to subscribe for that. I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff over there right now. Or you can just join the mailing list at kylehencherek.com/mailing list. Or if you're not able to, give any of that kind of support, it's as simple as just leaving a like on the video and sharing it with people that you know. But I really appreciate you coming out. We're going to be live streaming again on Thursday, and that's going to be an all request stream. So I hope you can join me for that. All right, so here is How You Say Goodbye. The bases are loaded. Bow down to the floor. A single shot on this screen plot is all I'm asking for. September is faded. No room for wanting more. My sad goodbye that's spoken through this stadium ensures. The temple is floating. The cheers sound much too good. backyard sales of tallest tales is far too understood. I'm taking my chances with a slightly crooked grin and a fire in my eyes in a timely telling sin. If the pitch comes in over the plate, just the right speed and perfectly straight, swinging the bat and it cracks and the crowd goes wild. It's a long line drive to dead center field. It's over the wall and the legacy seal. That, my friends, is how you say goodbye. So many moments, but none to save the day. I never had that chance, but that's the price I had to pay. But now I am grounded. The fans ignite the flame, and the lightning says straight road ahead to glory and to fame. When the pitch comes in over the plate, just the right speed, perfectly straight, the swing of the bat and it cracks and the crowd goes wild. It's a long line drive to dead center field. It's over the wall and the legacy seal. That, my friends, is how you say goodbye. Oh, this face looks better than a morning glory bloom, but I've struck out way more times than you can fit in this old room. But as I turn to leave, I'll find a strength I'll never tell. So I'm climbing up the down escalator for one last kiss farewell. And the pitch comes in over the plate, just the right speed and perfectly straight, swing of the bat and it cracks and the crowd goes wild. It's a long line drive to dead center field. It's over the wall and the legacy seal. That, my friends, is how you say goodbye. Oh, and that, my friends, is how I say goodbye. All right, thanks very much. I hope that cheered you up a little bit from the theme of tonight's show. But thank you very much for tuning in tonight. That's going to do it for me. And I see Twigs came in late. That's okay. That's okay, Twigs. Don't worry about it. You can always watch the VOD on Facebook and YouTube. You know, it stays up there for a while. You know, I have a lot of people who are really, you know, dedicated to, you know, watching as many of these streams as they can. Twigs is one of those guys. And I don't expect you to tune into every single one, you know, especially when I go political like I did tonight. But you know, people have lives. You know, I'm not trying to force you away from it. If you got something to do, then you got something to do. But, you know, I appreciate it when you are able to come out, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much to everybody who came out today. Thank you to Teresa. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. To Twigs, and let's see who else is here. My mother tuned in. Laura Aiken tuned in. My cousin Kimmy tuned in. Thank you so much for coming. We had Jenny come in as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. The next stream is going to be a lot more lighthearted. It'll be an all-request stream on Thursday at 7, right here on Facebook, as well as YouTube. But thank you so much for tuning in tonight, and I hope I'll see you on Thursday. I'll also be streaming on Friday, so I hope you can join me for any one of those. It's always great to see you guys and be able to talk with you and sing for you and be able to hang out. So thank you very much for tuning in, and I hope I'll see you guys again very soon. Peace and love, you guys.